Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And so it's the end, but the moment has been prepared for. I finally finished watching the season 22 box set. I'm up to my final review with well, not the Revelation of the Daleks. Revelation of the Daleks. Revelation of the Daleks. I think as fine example of mid-80s Doctor Who, or Colin Baker's era, as you're gonna find, right? I really do. Actually, I think probably the finer examples would be a big finish, but one of the finest examples of televised Doctor Who, which is a very confusing season, right? It's a season of great highs and great lows in the same stories, often in the same scenes, right? So, but this one, generally speaking, is a high, and the problems that have besieged this whole season are, at a minimum, whilst being a pretty weird story, right? And you can kind of see the state of mind of the production office as they're making it. Before we get to the review, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are, oh, you guessed it, baby, a Fan-Dabby Double Dozy. Fan-Dabby Double Dozy, thank you very much. I am super spiffy grateful for everybody subscribing, liking, and sharing, especially subscribing. I'm getting close to breaking an invisible barrier on YouTube, right? That they've stopped me. They kept my subscriptions down to a certain level, but if you get like another 10-15 people to subscribe, then I think I pop through, right? So if you can consider doing that, I very much appreciate it, right? I really genuinely do. Thank you very much. Comment, let me know what you think. Sign up my Substack, my email newsletter, because when I do pop through that boundary, when I do pop through it, they'll inevitably get banned for some reason or another. So you can find me by Substack, my email newsletter. I also put out all Doctor Who stories and articles and comic strips, stuff that's that's out of print and just kind of fun to get, right? All that kind of stuff. So like, share, subscribe. I also have a paid one. I send out my own comic books there when I remember, which is not often enough, but I do do that. So like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are very good. Substack. Let's talk about this box set, this season. Let's start talking about the season. So the problem with the season, in my estimation, after looking at it very carefully, is Eric Saywood, right? Or more accurately, Eric Saywood's relationship with John Nathan Turner, which was not good. The truth is, Eric Saywood should have left by now. Eric Saywood was not happy with the casting of Colin Baker. Eric Saywood was not happy with Doctor Who. But it was a job, right? It was a job. Why turned down a job? But he hated it. He absolutely hated this job. He didn't enjoy it at all. And he just he looked at what John Nathan Turner is going, oh, it doesn't matter. This stuff is garbage, right? Absolute garbage. Wasn't helped by the executive of the BBC thinking the same thing. It's just unwatchable trash. And this box set comes with great interviews by Matthew Sweet, who is really good at doing this sort of thing. He interviews Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and most interestingly, Michael Grade. They're all good. I think the best of them, I find the Nicola Bryant one. Well, I've been obsessed with Nicola Bryant all my life because John Nathan Turner, essentially. But the Michael Gray one is fantastic, and all his criticisms were completely on the money. He really didn't know it continued for the Sir McCoy years. He thought he cancelled it, right? He didn't realise it was still going on, amazingly enough, you know. But again, I think his criticisms were all really valid in that it was dark and violent and not happy and fun anymore. So what I think was going on was a few things. Firstly, the mid-80s was... like in culture, it was the birth of the cynicism, right? This we came from like a great financial straits in the late 70s, early 80s to like the beginning of this this extreme affluence. We were just starting in mid 80s, and at the same time came with like a new more mature look at our cultural icons. I think it was really led by Alan Moore in 2000 AD and Warrior, coming up with this like gritty, newer way of telling comic stories with Marvel Man, for example, or V for Vendetta, and it was so influential. It spread entirely through comic books, and comic books are quite influential. It spread through culture, right? So yeah, this gritty realism, this darkness. Was very much in vogue. So that was brought in by Eric Saywood. He was the how I describe it. He was the creative force behind season 22. Reeling against John Nathan Turner to a great extent. So we get this extreme dark violence permeating the stories that just don't work, in my opinion. Really, generally don't work. In otherwise stories which I really liked, Vengeance on Varos, right? It was an interesting, good idea of story. Super dark, too sadistic. Again, Michael Gray's criticisms hold water. They really do hold a lot of water. Lytton getting his hands crushed in Attack of the Cybermen. And Gray said, listen, it's what you do when you run out of ideas, right? You just go with whatever's fashionable. And he's right? He is absolutely right. So Eric Saywood gave himself the script to write, as he gave the Cybermen script to write. Cybermen script was a real mess, right? Cybermen script was getting a lot of factoids from Ian Levine and awkwardly stitching them together in a story. So this was instead making a TV version of a book he's reading by Evelyn Waugh. What was the name of the book? About funeral homes, and then setting it with Daleks. So it was totally strange. It totally didn't. It like mismatched, right? That being said, it was pulled together by the excellent Graham Harper, who surely should have become the showrunner. John Nathan Turner probably should have left as well. But John Nathan Turner's greatness is really on display in this story when you look at the cast, which is breathtaking. A casting director today would do anything for this cast. You got Eleanor Braun, who was fantastic, Clive Swift as Jobel, William Gaunt as Orsini, and one episode, one story appearances. Orsini, I would love to see more of, right? It's a great character, right? Fantastically played by a great cast, right? John Ogwyn as Bostock was great. Alexei Sale, that's pure John Nathan Turner, pure mid 80s Doctor Who. And really genuinely works. Jenny Thomason from All Creatures Great and Small as Tassin Beaker, sounding exactly like All Creatures Great and Small in a weird role of this weird sexual longing intention with Davros and with Clive Swift. It was weird. Lots of very strange adulty things going on. Trevor Cooper and Colin Small brought on by, who was it? I think Graham Harper was Graham Harper's casting director. Look, Trevor Harper was next year. He was going to be doing Star Cops. A fantastic weird double act. You can see a lot of stuff where he's mimicking Robert Holmes, who is clearly his biggest influence. Was it Eric Sayers mimicking Robert Holmes to quite good effect? Again, this story was really pulled together by Graham Harper. Roger Lim does the incidental music, and it's really good, right? Sometimes we've had bad incidental music this season. It's really good. It develops a weird the funeronic character to the whole story. It lends this air of fatality to it going through the whole thing. So the idea of the story, which is just strange, is the Doctor shows up on Necros, freezing bloody cold because there was this huge snowfall, and you can see how red their noses were when they filmed the exterior scenes, because a famous scientist, one of the sins of the of this series is Colin Baker repeating things over and over again to Perry. Well, guy, and you see this very strange, snippy, fractious relationship between the Doctor and Perry, which was how people would show affection. I think in the mid-80s it was this tap dancing repertoire. That's kind of what they were going for. But it was just, they seemed not to like each other very much, which was a bit strange. It really was a bit strange. But Hugh Walter is it as well, playing Eleanor Bond's assistant secretary, Vogel. Also, fantastic. I mean, yes, this cast is having such a great time. The cast was almost even better by Laurence Olivier was approached to play this mutant, this guy with the singing detective type face, who attacks Colin Baker, and then is like hit with a bit of a twig by Nicola Bryant and forgives her and kills over dead. But first, he's in this freezing river of water with a handgun. Health and safety today would not allow that to happen. And normally speaking, I'm not a fan of health and safety. Boy, would they have a point! I'm surprised they didn't die of hyperbloodithermia, right? So the story progresses. We have Davros is hiding in Tranquil Repose, a funeral home, using the bodies as artificial food, which is a company managed by Eleanor Braun, assisted by Vogel, Hugh Walters, and they conspire with a disgraced ex-knight Orsini and his squire Bostock, William Gort and John Ogwen, again fantastic, to assassinate Davros. And so the first episode is basically everybody just kind of meandering to their allotted points on the chessboard. We got Alexei Sales there. There's this weird DJ character who's keeping the bodies who are in suspended animation mostly in the loop. But you get this great and again, this is somewhat ripped off, I think, from Caves of Androzani, where you have people talking to the camera, where he's like commenting on, he's doing this like DJ patter, and then commenting on the reality of how the money's being stolen and things like that. So you also got these two body snatchers played by Stephen Flynn as Gregory and Bridget Lynch Bloss, never heard of her, as Natasha. They're coming to rescue her father. So if you're going to get John Gielgud to be in this was a much better role for him if he would have been in studio. So this is where one of the excesses of season 22 actually work. You get this real good body horror when you see the character Susan Flynn's Bridget Lynch Bloss's father, Natasha's father, Arthur Stingros, this famous scientist, being turned into a Dalek, and it's very horrific. Like the teeth have like this metal shaft through it, and it's very subtle, and things like that really work, right? It's pulsating head and a see-through Dalek. It really, really, really works. It's great horror. And it wasn't. It was near the knuckle, but I think that really worked. As I said many times over. So then episode 1 ends with the Doctor finding his own massive statue tombstone, so he knows he's going to die, and it ends with it falling on him. So the resolution to that, and crushing him to death apparently, resolution to that was he wasn't really dead, he was just hiding underneath it before he's got up and said, oh no, it's just polystyrene. And that didn't really work. It was just weird, and it's all part of a weird, insane plan by Davros to play with Colin Baker's Doctor for reasons, all right? But other than they wanted a cliffhanger, and it, again, didn't really work. So, all the characters are basically in place by episode 2, and then they all line up to be killed horribly. One by one, the Daleks go and arrest, go and grab Eleanor Braun and Vogel and Hugh Walters. Hugh Walters has a great death scene as he's like, no, you can't take us, and they fire him. And people, when they die, don't go, ah, for about 5 minutes, ah, falls down. Still great, but again, Eleanor Braun, fantastic. Her response is, what a pity, and such a good secretary is so hard to find, right? So it turns out that she gets brought to Davros, and the William Galt's Orsini was set up to deliver a bomb rather than just assassinate him. So he kills, again, quite gruesomely, kills nice Eleanor Braun. And again, we just have lots of fighting each other. We have the renegade, we have the Imperial Daleks fighting against the Imperial and the who was it? The Renegade Daleks. I'm not sure which ones are which, fighting against each other, which was pretty good. We have Davros get his hand blown off. Davros appears to be in a goldfish bowl for most of it, but that's just a lore. Then Davros comes out, and we have terrible bits of special effects where he's electrocuting Orsini on the floor, and they get they have him in front of his leg, which is wiggling around, right? And it doesn't really work. And even in the improved special effects, it still doesn't work. I just wish they could redo that shot better. I think somebody at home could probably redo that shot better, and I wish somebody would indeed do that. It's sort of the only thing that really kind of annoys me about this story. And also, the body horror is a little bit too extreme for no apparent reason. After Davros has his hand blow, great direction, by the way, right? He's about to reaching out to wake his Daleks, and Bostock, the squire, the injured squire, slowly heaves himself up in the background and with a quivering hand raises his gun to shoot Davros's hand. And it's a great scene, right? It is a great scene. He blows his hand up, and the Daleks go crazy. They shoot him, and you feel for the character, right? You absolutely do feel for the character. This is all down to Graham Harper, and of course the acting, the casting. Again, John Nathan Turner knocking it out the park. Really, genuinely knocking it out the park with this. And so I think this is a great example of Doctor Who in mid-80s. This is them doing as best as they can, and it's something I will go back to. I'm glad it's on HD. Looks beautiful, great transfer as always. This is fantastic. So also we get a bunch of extras. We get behind the sofa. We got 3 groups of people: Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, and Terry Malloy commenting on their stuff, and they quite like their work they do. Good for them. We got Peter Davison, Janet Fielding, and Sarah Sutton commenting on it. And I noticed in the season 2 box set that they just announced that it's Wendy Padbury, Sarah Sutton, and Janet Fielding. Peter Davison was like, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't do it. No, I can so see him saying that." And you got Sylvester McCoy and Wendy Padbury, who are basically a bit taken aback by the extreme violence and body horror going through the whole thing. Again, quite understandably in my mind, quite understandably. We got a bunch more extras. We got the Peter McTeague trailer, which they all look a little bit corporate video-ish to me. They're a little bit cringe, but God bless them. He puts his heart and soul into them. Studio footage, the stuff I don't location footage, stuff I don't normally watch, and a bunch of weird extras. You got Lenny Henry's Doctor Who sketch. Lenny, I can see why they never came calling, but Lenny Henry's been a bit miserable of late now, hasn't he? He's been like, "Oh, England's so racist." It never seemed to hurt you, mate, right? I mean, if England's so racist, how did you get a wonderful career through through decades and decades? I didn't see your skin colour when I was watching Tiswas. I don't think anybody else was looking at it either. They just saw a great entertainer, right? Although not that great in this. But you saw his love for Doctor Who. Lots of breakfast time clips, and I do imagine Frank Boff snorting cocaine in between scenes as he came out being a huge coke fiend. They talk about Doctor Who exhibition. They have a quick promo for Revelation of Daleks. And of course the ubiquitous, constantly there, John Nathan Turner. Directing Who now and then with Graham Harper's pulled it over from the DVD. Also great, right? Graham Harper, other than being a great director, is also a fantastic to listen to. Really, really interesting person to listen to. We see Doctor Who and Children in Need, and much more embarrassingly, right? Much more embarrassingly, we see Doctor in Distress. Ian Levine's and John Nathan Turner's plan to save Doctor Who. Blimey. That's the best you got, baby. No wonder it got cancelled. Then you got Colin Baker as the Doctor on a program, Micro Live, and Take Two, in-era promotional thing, talking about it. Look, in general, a great disc. Oh, also, of course, the making of Revelation Exhumed, the making of Revelation of Daleks. Fascinating, right? Absolutely fascinating having it. Why do I talk about this reasonably knowledgeably? Because I've watched everything on this disc, right? I've watched everything on this box set. It's a huge recommend. Look, it's my era. It's a very problematic era. There's a lot wrong with it. I freaking love it. I freaking loved it. I've loved this whole thing. I'm looking forward to the next box set now. I have done Colin Baker to death for a bit. I need a bit of a Colin break, you know. I guess we got the Gary Russell Abominable Snowman coming next. Look, his last attempt with Fury from the Deep, bit disappointing, but it's the last animation, so you know, best not kvetch too much. Fine, go check it out, go buy it. Huge recommend. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.